Hey everybody, Karen from Master Spirit Guides. I hope you're doing well today. So we are continuing talking about using our psychic abilities, which we all have, by the way. You have them too. Because let me remind you that you are a spiritual being first, which has all the capabilities that those who we don't see in our 3D world have. And so we're just talking about how to access those, excuse me, what's basically how to use them wisely. So that's what we're going to be talking about today. I already did a video on whether or not they were community questions on whether or not everybody has access to psychic abilities. Okay, so that today we are talking about how do we use our psychic abilities wisely. But clearly I got a frog in my throat, so I need to give that all good old clear here. Oh my goodness, it's probably because Canada keeps smudging the United States. We talked about that yesterday with all of their smoke. Okay, so again, these are community questions. We've got 13 questions from the community regarding how to use our psychic abilities wisely. And then I have two personal questions that community members have asked that they wanted clarification on. So we're going to ask the lead team using the dowsing rods. Okay. So today the questions relate to psychic abilities, why psychic abilities exist, how they're meant to be used, and the responsibility that may come with developing them. Okay. And I love the word developing them because again, we all have the ability to access different dimensions. Put it that way. We're on the 3D. We're in the third dimension. And I have learned from so many conversations and reading a lot of spiritual books from others who channel that we can all access other dimensions. We can access our spirit guides, our guardian angel, Jesus. I've talked to Jesus. You can access him too. So many different people. Okay, so that's what we're talking about today. All right, so I've got a little prayer and then we'll get started with the questions. I learned so much, you guys. Every time I do these, I mean, anytime I do this session, I cannot tell you how much I've grown personally based on all the questions you guys have, and it's amazing. So thank you so much. One, for being here. Two, for putting your questions out there so that we can keep asking. All right. I close my aura to all but my higher self, the God consciousness, my guides, guardians, the lead team collective, and only those in the highest and purest light, and ask Archangel Michael to please protect my channel, your channel, the lead team collective, and our community so it is all of the highest and purest light. Amen. Hey lead team, how's it going today? Awesome. I actually had an epiphany last night. I was reading this book that I talked about in a previous video called The Earth Experiment by the ascended master who's being channeled is Kuan Yin. So if you missed that video, I will go ahead. If you missed the last psychic one, I'll post it here, and about whether we all have psychic abilities. And then I'll post the conversation we had about that book because I'm so excited about this book. It just answers things very clearly, and it's helping me put things together that I haven't been able to put together before. So one of the things that occurred to me last night while I was reading is that, and I'm going to ask the lead team actually as I tell you about it, is that the lead team, I had this inspiration, and I don't know last night about you, and I don't know if it came from them or my spirit guides or it was just my brain working. So lead team, are you a combination, I was going to say but are you a combination of everybody here, all of our higher selves? Yes. Okay. That is different. Now, I'm also going to ask, are you also a combination of people here, the higher selves, the fragments that we are of our higher selves? So we're fragments, basically, of our higher selves. And actually, in that book, she uses a different term, and I kind of like it better, but I can't think of what it is. So we're fragments. So our higher self in the other dimension, probably the 12th dimension. Actually, she does say that in the book. Daniel Scranton and the author, I think it's Allison, I'm not sure what her last name is. I'll post the book below. So all of our higher selves are in the 12th dimension, if I remember correctly. I can ask. Lead team. Are all of our higher selves residing in the 12th dimension? Yes. And that is the same dimension that the ascended masters are in, correct? Yes. And are the archangels in the 13th dimension? So they're up a little bit higher. Okay. You got to listen to that video because I explained this triangle that she explains in the book. Makes so much sense. Okay. But I'm not going to redo that here. So our higher selves are in the 12th dimension. And then we split off. Our higher selves can split off and have multiple experiences, right? We can, like our higher selves can say, I want to have an experience on Earth as Karen, who was born in 1969, and this is going to happen, blah, 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 blah. And then that fragment gets together with a spirit team, spirit guides, guardian angel, and then supports that particular fragment life on Earth. Is that correct? Yes. So is the lead team, and I am going to do a separate video on just the lead team coming up soon. You guys had a bunch of questions. We had a huge conversation. There was like 300 comments or whatever. So I'm going to be answering your questions about the lead team a little bit more. But I just had this epiphany last night. So is the lead team, so the lead team is made up of all of our higher selves, which is not something I've asked before. So that's interesting. That makes more sense to me, actually. Is it also made up of our spirit guides for these fragments of our higher selves? Yes. Okay. So that's why you call yourself a collective? Yes. When I asked the lead team, well, I didn't know they were the lead team at the time, but I asked them on the pendulum if they had a name. First I asked if there was a group that was answering. And in fact, in this book, I'm going to get to the questions in a second. I just had this, I need to talk about this because I just read about it last night. In this book, she specifically says that most people when they channel like this, or, they're hearing things directly or whatever, that they're actually channeling collectives. That it was so interesting. And I thought it is very interesting that when I asked our group who I was talking to, and it wasn't just my guides, it was a collective. And that's the name they gave me, Lead Team Collective. So I've just been going with it, But we've never, and I've been asking them questions here and there, but I will do a full session on the lead team. Okay. To the using our psychic abilities wisely is kind of the grouping of these questions. Question number 1. Is there a purpose behind psychic abilities beyond helping ourselves? Yes. So people who are able to develop their psychic abilities, and this would be considered, would you consider this, I don't know if you guys do, but I'm going to ask the lead team, do you consider what I'm doing here, because I've never considered it a psychic ability, to be honest, it's never even occurred to me. Do you consider this a psychic ability? Yes, because I'm able to access, the veil is a bit thinner, that they can communicate with me a little easier. Is that true? This is what we talked about in the previous video. Okay, yes. Okay. So if we develop these, is the intention from our higher selves and our spirit guides or our life plan, is the intention for people who do develop psychic abilities in this fragment of who they are they meant to help others as well? Yes. Well, let me just ask this. Are humans, when all spirits decide they're going to come to Earth, the fragments of us, do we all come to Earth intending to help others? Yes. Okay. So it doesn't matter whether it's with psychic abilities or whatever, but we're all intended to come here and have a positive. Do we all intend to come here and have a positive influence on Earth? Yes. Do some souls just come here to experience Earth, just experience Earth? No. Okay. So it's not just a vacation. Yes. Let me clarify. Is it just a vacation for some souls? No. Okay. Are psychic abilities meant to be used primarily to help others? So that was a community question specific to what? Yes. Yes. So if there are people who are listening who are just curious, because they're listening because they're curious, but not really wanting to develop psychic abilities, I don't really want to develop, like, it's not my thing. I didn't seek out to develop any more psychic abilities than have fun with these dowsing rods. I actually got the dowsing rods. Some of you might know this because I told the story a long time ago, but I got the dowsing rods originally because I was watching a channel called Channeling Eric. If you've never seen it, you'll have to go and decide for yourself if that works for you. But I was watching a medium talk about dowsing rods, and she was talking about clearing. She went around and she showed how to clear or close, which she called portals, but I'm calling gateways at this point. It's a more accurate term. Closing energy gateways in her house. And she was showing us how to do it. And I'm like, that's cool. I'm up for anything. So then I ordered these, and I ordered them on Amazon. The ones I ordered are in our Amazon shop. Okay. And because a lot of people ask me, and then I cover these this is copper. And I didn't know at the time, people will say copper is fine for you. I didn't know at the time. I didn't want to touch metal, so I wasn't sure because it will come off. But I covered these with Velcro. That's all I did. It's just, there's a big, see how the seam is right there? Anyway, so yeah. So I was like, okay, I'll try. So I get them. And I didn't even know anything about them at the time. But I get them. And my husband and I are standing in the kitchen. And it just whips. It starts going like this. It starts whipping around. Now, this is probably like a year after my mom died. And this thing just whipped and whipped and whipped. So, and then she also told us about how you can give hugs. So like right now, I'm going to give you guys a hug. Okay. Which I haven't done this for a little while, but lead team, can you give the community a hug, please? So as I talk right now, they're going to give you a hug, and then we'll get back to the questions. So hopefully you can feel it. It's kind of cool. Anyways, I heard that in that video, and the first thing, so it moved right away for me. I didn't even do anything. Like it just started spinning. I was like, what the actual hell is going on here? And more my husband, like I'm way more into this kind of stuff. Like I was into angel cards at that time and whatever. But, so he's, anyway, so his dad, I said, I don't know why it was the first thing I thought of. But I asked if Sam was there, and they said yes. And mine do move a little different than other people's. Like you'll see other people's move. Mine just have always moved yes for right and no for left. So, which is actually quite easier than the whole open and close thing, I find. But, you guys feeling the hug? They're still hugging you. So I said, hey, can you guys give hey, Sam, who is my husband's dad, who had transitioned in 1996. And I said, could you give Jim a hug? And they did this. And we were like, whoa. And I mean, we just, And ever since then, like every time like I got together with my friends, I was only doing this for like 8 years with my friends, like, and I would, everybody had somebody who transitioned they'd want to talk to. And I would have them give them a hug and everybody would cry. Like everybody just, because they could feel it. It was crazy. Anyways, so there's my story. Okay. So thank you, lead team, for that beautiful hug. That was awesome. I hope you guys felt that. Okay, so lead team, this might be an obvious question, but it did come from the community. Can psychic abilities be misused? Yes. Okay. Yes, they can. Are there things we should not do with our psychic abilities? Yes. Okay, you guys are going to have to tease out what those are because I'm not, I obviously clarify things when things come to me, but that might be, let me see if there's another episode we're doing on not things we shouldn't do. I don't think I have that. Nope. So if you guys have questions of like, let's do a whole episode on, from your questions of things we shouldn't do. Okay. You could probably guess what most of them are. I mean, if it's of the light, if it's not of the light, if it's more, fear-based, I'd say no. Would that be true, lead team? So is that an easy gauge, is to just stick to things that are of love? Yes. And turn away from things that are from fear? Yes. Okay. Should we connect with another living person, or is it inappropriate to connect with another living person without their permission? Yes, it is inappropriate. Can we still do it? Yes. However, let me clarify. If we get permission from their higher self, is that permission? Yes. Or do we need to get permission from the fragment that is having the experience on Earth? No. So you can get the permission from the higher self. I've asked before and they have said no, and I've asked before and they've said yes. So I don't do living people too often. I just don't feel totally comfortable. But I did do Trump, and I did Elon Musk, and I did, you can go back and search for them. Pendulum messages, kind of interesting. Really interesting, actually, what his higher self, I accessed his higher self. And Elon and Epstein. So I've done those, I've done others. But in terms of who's alive, is Epstein still alive? Who knows? But I should do this. My nose. Okay, well, let me just ask. Is the fragment who was in the body of Jay Epstein, is that fragment still living on Earth? Yes. Okay, a little off topic, but there you go. This is why I decided to shorten the number of questions I answer, you guys, because otherwise it's like 50 minutes, because Karen, we go off into different directions because that's what I do and it's my channel. Because that, to me, this is how you learn. You ask a question, you dive into it, you got to think about it a little bit, so that's how I learn anyways. Okay, I know it drives some people nuts, and I apologize if it does for you. It's no fun to be driven nuts, but okay. Can misusing our psychic abilities cause us to temporarily lose them? Oh, good question. Yes. Oh, wow. Okay, so if we're using our psychic abilities, that is not what we intended to do for our life plan. Would spirit get in the way of that? Is that something? Yes, even though they would get in the way of that free will? Yes. Okay, I see lots of questions coming about that. I don't even know how to answer it. I don't know how to clarify that. Can misusing our psychic abilities cause us to permanently lose them? Yes. Well, does that have to do with the energy? So if you're misusing and you're using them for fear, lower okay, that makes sense to me. If you're using psychic abilities to conjure up lower energies and fear, well, guess what happens? Then your vibration drops. Yes. Oh, so it's not necessarily, so do our spirit teams sometimes interfere? Yes. Okay. So they will sometimes interfere, but do they have to always interfere in that situation? No. So it's because it lowers our vibration for the most part that then we would end up, yes. Okay, well, that's good. Is that kind of a safeguard that we have as humans for people to not misuse? Yes. Okay. And so you do have to, like, I like this because you're actually seeing something. When you listen to people who channel, you don't see anything, right? So you have to really use your intuition to feel into that. Like, does this message feel right to me? Because you don't know. You don't know if this person is fully in their ego or if they are living from that part of them that's truly what we are, So that's why I like doing this. Even though it's probably a little slower and I don't have direct access like hearing and stuff. But for me, I almost need like to see the proof, And it doesn't mean that they're always right either. So just keep that in mind. Always use your intuition regardless of what the lead team says. Okay. Because it very well could be how I'm asking the questions. And, it can get confusing sometimes. And I get that because I am doing these off the cuff. So it's not like I sit and rehearse this, So I've got the questions, but I just wait to see what the answers are going to be. Okay. Can we communicate with people who are still living on Earth? Oh, there we go. Through their higher selves. There you go. Yes. So as long as you get the permission from the higher self, it sounds like we're fine. And approach it with love. Because if you're approaching it with love, then, there you go. I mean, I get it. We don't want to interfere in people's, but ask for permission. They're saying yes. Okay. Can we ask our spirit team to shift our timeline? Yeah. Okay. So the clarification is that, yeah, you can ask. We can ask anything we want, right? So speaking of asking, August 1st is coming up, 30-day challenge of communicating with our spirit team. So are you guys ready? If you join our newsletter, we'll be sending out directions probably in the next 7 days. My sister and I have to get together and get that ready for the newsletter. Okay. So let's see. So yeah, we can ask our spirit teams, but if we asked, okay, let's just say all humans asked their spirit teams to shift their timeline. Are there any spirit teams who would do that? There we go. No. Maybe it's the wording shift timelines might be the issue. Yes. So, because there's only one timeline. So that's what they've told us, yes. So it's whether or not you branch off. So we've got one timeline and then all these little that you can go in different directions. And then, but that timeline is still that timeline, wherever you branch off to. So can we ask our spirit teams, and would they help us with the different branches per se of the timeline? Yes. So they wouldn't help us shift in the timeline itself. No. Are we capable of shifting in the timeline? Yes, I guess we're capable of anything. But it's not what we're here to do as humans, is to shift in the timeline? Is that why they wouldn't help us? Yes. I thought they were going to say yes and no, but they went to clear yes. So I'm not sure I'm asking the best questions around that. So clarify if you guys have additional questions. I'll pull them from the comments. Do spirit guides ever deny our requests to awaken psychic abilities? Yes. Is that our higher self that's really doing that? Yes. Is it denied because that's not what's in our life plan? Yes. So don't be hard on yourself. Just, if there's something you want to access, like if these didn't work for me, I probably, like if I tried them in a little bit, I probably wouldn't have pursued it much farther. But I was obviously meant to do what I'm doing right now. I mean, there's no doubt in my mind the way it all came about. It's a whole story, but in terms of getting on YouTube with them. But yes. Okay. Do we need a specific purpose before asking our psychic abilities to awaken? Oh, yes. So maybe you can use the 30-day challenge to, if this is something of interest to you, to explore that. What would be the purpose of you awakening a psychic ability? So lead team, are you saying that it is helpful for people to understand that if they are going to awaken a psychic ability and develop it, that they actually have a purpose for doing that? Yes. Okay. And the purpose doesn't have to be like be on YouTube. Like it doesn't have to be, the purpose could be just helping your family somehow or helping somebody who needs that help. It doesn't have to be big. Yes. Okay. Yes, it doesn't have to be big. Does it have to be a big purpose? No. Okay. Meaning you don't have to touch a ton of people to be able to develop that psychic ability and use it with purpose, with healthy, loving purpose. No. Can we ask for our psychic abilities to awaken at any point in our lives? Yes. Somebody had asked in the previous video about, can seniors still access and develop? 100%. I'm guessing you can develop them the day before you transition, In fact, probably a lot of people do. You hear a lot of stories where people actually start seeing things, right? Because the veil is thinning. Yeah. Yes. Are we sometimes prevented from seeing deeper truths for our highest good? Yes. 100%. 100%. They would not answer any of these questions. And there's been a few questions, mostly when we were talking about heavy politics stuff, but that what they do is sometimes they'll say yes and no, but they'll go like that. They'll just stop. So, and I appreciate that because it's not for our highest good. Okay, 2 personal questions. Now, lead team, can you tap into who these people are? I don't have your handles, so you guys will need to know if you ask these, but the personal questions are really helpful for me, and I hope they're helpful for everybody else to hear too. Yes. Okay. So lead team knows who you are. Okay. So this person says, I've been able to communicate telepathically. Very cool. With only one person in my life. Is there a reason, they're already saying yes, it only happens with that one person? Yes. And then the second part is, and is it possible to experience that again? Yes. So did the other person pick up on what you were, they're saying yes. So I don't know if you felt that the other well, they must have, right? Because otherwise, how would you guys have done it? So you guys, is this something that they just need to strengthen if they want to continue having that? Yes. Let me clarify. When we ascend to the 5D on Earth, we're all going to be able to communicate telepathically, correct? Yes. Cool. No more cell phone bills. Yes. We won't have to have cell phone bills. Okay, last question. This person says, I have been talking, writing, and listening to my spirit guides for over a year. Awesome. And I also receive messages through tarot and oracle cards. Very cool. Am I truly communicating with my spirit guides? This person wants to know. Yes. Very cool. And then the follow-up was, if not, should I move on from this practice? No. No. Really wide swing on that. Look at that. Have you seen a wide swing like that today? So no. Don't move on. Are you feeling like you're not intuitively getting, like you might ask for like guidance on something. When I ask for guidance, sometimes I don't get it right away. Like sometimes it might be like 6 months later and you forget that they open, because I'll just let it go. Like, okay, I'll let it go until I get an answer. But sometimes we forget what we asked for, sometimes I get like an answer the next day, which happened to me in the last 30-day challenge, or maybe the one before that, where I only went like 2 days because I got an answer and I had to like drop everything. I was like, well, I don't need any more information about anything else. So I'm not right. And that might happen to some of you, and that's okay. So anyways, all right. Well, I hope this was helpful and very fun. Thank you for the questions, and keep asking them, and we'll just keep exploring together. All right. Take care. Bye-bye.